Well, howdy, partners. The new time travel behind me in 88. I'm back for another Doctor Who DVD review. And yes, we're still celebrating Doctor Who's 50th anniversary. So today I'm doing another Peter Davison adventure. It is Doctor Who Black Orchid. Yes, this is a very historical story since the classic adventure The Highlanders. Yep, I really love the story Black Orchid. It's very underrated. This two-part story originally transmitted on March 1st through the 2nd, 1982, broadcast in twice weekly form. And the story is set in the countryside of 1925. So, the two figures struggles before one of them falls dead. And a young woman named Anne Talbot sleeps as the figures enter the room. And the figure was seen tied to the bed by a South American Indian. So, the TARDIS materialized on June 11th, 1925, and the Cranleigh Halt Railroad Station, as the crew discovered Lord Cranleigh's chauffeur returned, who was expecting the doctor, and they asked him to stay on the annual ball. So they introduced to Aunt Talbot Lord Cranleigh's fiancée, who looks like Nyssa of Traken. When Tegan admires a black flower, Lady Cranleigh explains it is a black orchid and was found by the Ornico by her son George. Tegan recognized the name as George Cranleigh, a famous botanist and explorer. Lady Cranleigh says that George was never returned from his expedition into Brazilian forests and was engaged to George. The bounding figure struggles against his bond when the Indian expects the figure he is knocked unconscious. The doctor picks up a harlequin outfit to wear to the ball and comes to the room and presents Nyssa with a dress identical to her own. The ball attendants were unable to tell them apart. As the doctor prepares for the ball, a figure enters his room and the secret passage hearing a noise. The doctor returns to the room but only sees the opening. He enters a secret passage, but the panel closed behind him. The figure takes the harlequin costume. As the ball started, Lady Cranleigh talks with the Indian. He tells her friends he has escaped. The figure, wearing a harlequin costume, dances with Anne. The doctor enters a room full of botany and textbooks, finding the secret room where the figure was bound. A book written by in Portuguese, and a corpse. The harlequin enters the building with Anne. Anne tells it should return to the party, but it grabs her by the wrist and was screaming for help. And the butler rushes her, and the harlequin strangles her, causing Anne to faint. The doctor's accused return to the secret room, finding Lady Cranleigh and the Indian, which she introduced as Latoni, a Brazilian friend. The doctor showed them to the courts when she identifies as one of the servants. She requests he not to inform the guests. A figure returned to the harlequin costume to the doctor's room, then goes to the room where Anne is lying and hideously deformed. His face reveals. Anne wakens and sees the figure flees into the room where Lady Cranleigh and Latoni are. Latoni gathers rope and advanced on deforming figure. The servant informed Lord Cranleigh of the event inside the house. He finds a dead butler. Anne's mask. The doctor arrives and she accused the doctor of attacking her. So Sir Robert arrests the doctor, and Sir Robert asks the remaining guests to go home. The doctor proclaims his innocence, suggesting that someone else has identical costume, and Anne stated that there's only one Harlequin. He looks to Lady Crenna and provide her alibi, but she stays silent. Sir Robert questioned the doctor regarding his identity, and he said he is a Time Lord and he can travel in time and space. Looking to Lady Crenna, he mentioned the other body, but she denies to seeing it. So they escort the doctor and his companion to the prison. The body has been replaced with a doll. Lord Crenna receives a telephone call. The friend of Smutty Thomas, who thinks he sent the doctor to meet him. And the Tegan says the doctor is no imposter. He is charged with murder and his companions accused of accessories. So he is sold to the railroad station and he showed the TARDIS, but it's not on the station. But they find the TARDIS at the police station. So the doctor invites Sir Robert and the police sergeant into the TARDIS. It's down as what he sees, and he offers the doctor an apology and is still convinced of murder. So the doctor used the TARDIS to return to Cranleigh Hall. The secret room is ablaze with a fire started by a deforming figure who breaks out and goes into the main hall when Lord and Lady Crenna are talking, and the figure grabs a hold of Nyssa and drags her upstairs. The doctor cannot follow because the fire spread rapidly. Sir Robert demands to know what the deformed figure is. Lady Crenna reveals it is George, so she insists George will not harm him, but the doctor points he has the wrong girl. So George carried Nyssa into the roof. The doctor asks Lord Crenna to distract George while he finds the way to their positioning. Lady Crenna confessed to Sir Robert George's injury were caused by the Indian who removed his tongue because they were held the Black Orchid scare losing his mind. He was rescued by another tribe of Indian where Latoni was a member, and she admitted that George killed Digby. Lord Crenna climbs into the roof and to confront George, and the doctor also reached the roof. The doctor employed him to release Nyssa, and he tells him to look down and see Anne. George released Nyssa, but George falls the roof and dying. Before the doctor departs, Anne gives Tegan and Nyssa their costume as present, and Lady Crenna to present the doctor with a copy of George's book. So, how do I rate this story? Doctor Who Black Orchid is a very good story, like a whodunit mystery, and Sarah Sutton did a wonderful job playing dual role. So, my opinion of this movie, the story, is alright. It's an okay story. So, just give it 9 out of 10. So, let's take a look. Here's the cover. Here's the Fifth Doctor and a Harlequin. Here's Nyssa and Anne Talbot. And here's the mansion. The Peter Davison years, 1982 to 1984. Here's the spine, the back. Here's the still pictures. We have audio commentary by actors Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, Sarah Sutton, and Matthew Waterhouse. Deleted scenes, Now and Then, Stripped for Action, The Fifth Doctor, Blue Peter, Points of View, Film Restorations, Easter eggs, and so forth. Here's the disc for Black Orchid. This two-part adventure was rebroadcast on BBC One on August 31st, 1983 through September 1st, 1983. As part of Peter Davison repeated season. Well, and this episode is officially going out of print soon. If you haven't get this episode, I recommend to check it out. So that's it for this review. This is the new Time Travel Hyman 88. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Shout out goes to Melissa Rivera. Thanks for watching. Bye.